This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's Zalma's Insurance Fraud Letter, issue August 1, 2022, volume 26, issue number 15. The full PDF version of the 22-page newsletter is available at the link on the image to your left. The articles in this issue include the need to understand the mutability of memory when investigating a fraud. Very few people have a perfect eidetic or photographic memory. Memory is a fluid and often unreliable human function. During my time as a trainee investigator at the Army Intelligence School at Fort Holabird, Maryland, a classroom lecture on interviewing was interrupted by a man dressed in a clown mask, a tuxedo, swim fins, a cowboy hat, and a purple cummerbund. He ran into the room, screamed epithets, fired a weapon into the ceiling, and ran out. The teacher instructed each member of the class to write down a description of the intruder. None of our descriptions were accurate, and we were all shocked when the shooter was brought back into the class. The noise he made, the firing of a weapon, and the fear the incident engendered made it almost impossible to recall him accurately. Some even described him as having been female. The professional recognizes that some examination under oath techniques can cause honest subjects, those who are innocent but just trying to be helpful, to misremember and provide unreliable, even false information. It has long been known that the false memories can be implanted by a process of suggestion, especially when used by skillful but unscrupulous attorneys or interviewers. The full article is in the newsletter, and I recommend you read the entire thing. It's quite useful and adapted from my book on the examination under oath. Then there's an article about the California claims regulations, because insurers licensed or operating in California must file their SIU annual reports by Wednesday, September 28, and insurers licensed or operating in California must ascertain that their entire claims staff has read, understood, or been trained about the California Fair Claims Settlement Practices regulations by September 1 of each year, and be ready to swear under oath that the regulations have been complied with by the insurer. It might be useful to help fulfill these requirements by acquiring a copy of my books on the SIU regulations and the California Fair Claims Practices regulations. Next article deals with an insurance agent who found out he should not sell unregistered securities because there was in his errors and omissions policy an unregistered security exclusion, which eliminated his insurer's duty to defend or indemnify him. William Saud sold insurance-related products, and beginning in 2017, he offered some of his clients a new financial instrument, a memorandum of indebtedness issued by One Global Capital, LLC. The investment opportunity was too good to be true, and Mr. Saud found he had no insurance coverage when his customers began suing him for selling a fraudulent product. The newsletter also refers to free insurance videos available at rumble.com/Zalma and on YouTube, where you can view more than 470 insurance-related and insurance claims-related videos. Then there's an article entitled "Intending Harm Caused is Not Insurable." State Farm Fire and Casualty filed a motion for summary judgment arguing that it owed no duty to defend or indemnify defendants Hamdallah LLC at all against the claims asserted by plaintiff Nixon Calix. The trial court granted summary judgment and dismissed all claims against State Farm with prejudice because the evidence showed that employees, officers, and agents of the company beat Mr. Calix for 4 hours with hands, fists, and a pistol until he was seriously injured. Then there's the good news from the Coalition Against Insurance Fraud, which denominates criminal convictions for insurance fraud, including, for example, one of the many reported on, Dr. Jose Santiago lured patients for medically unneeded rehab in a $112 million fleecing of private insurers in South Florida. Recruiters paid kickbacks to con addicted patients into attending Santiago's detox facilities, then plied them with illegal drugs to ensure they were admitted. Santiago made false claims for excessive urinalysis drug tests that weren't even used in treatment. Santiago then readmitted a core group of addicted patients he shuffled between Compass Detox and another facility to fraudulently bill for as much bogus drug treatment as possible. Santiago also prescribed Compass Detox patients an addictive comfort drink to sedate them so they'd stay at the facility and keep returning, and he let cohorts use his login at the detox facilities to sign electronic medical files to make it falsely appear he provided treatment. Santiago was given 4.5 years in federal prison. Then we have an article about a person who was convicted of wire and insurance fraud. After being convicted of multiple counts of fraud, Ijaz Sharif was sentenced to a term of imprisonment for 48 months on each count concurrent, followed by 2 years of supervised release in a case called Sharif versus United States of America. He tried to get out of his sentence with a motion to reduce his sentence, but lost when he appealed to the U.S. District Court for the Western District of North Carolina. Then there's a listing of dozens of health insurance fraud convictions showing that the U.S. Attorney's Office is getting busy again in prosecuting and convicting people who commit health insurance fraud against the United States, including a story of why a jury convicted a man of $600 million health care fraud, wire fraud, and ID theft. Matthew James, 54, East Northport, was convicted by a federal jury. He stole $600 million from the U.S. government health insurance plans. And we discuss a new program called Zalma on Insurance at locals.com, where you can subscribe to multiple videos explaining excellence in claims handling. Another article on a complaint surfaces on Mr. Strems of Florida over settlement and a fee deal, plus another lawyer from his firm that was being suspended by the Florida Supreme Court. Scott Strems, the pain in the bank accounts of Florida insurers, could see his 2-year suspension completed in July of 2022, but allegations by the state bar could result in new sanctions or even a permanent disbarment. A 25-page complaint, separate from previous allegations, charges that Miami attorney Strems and his law firm in 2018 informed a client of a settlement with a property insurance company, but then secretly settled with the insurer for twice as much and attempted to pocket a large unauthorized fee. In addition, fallout from the Strems law firm's litigation practices in Florida continued, with 2 years after Coral Gables plaintiff's attorney Scott Strems was suspended from practice. Another one of his lawyers has been before the state bar and has been suspended for 91 days. The State Bar of Florida may want to consider the need for greater suspensions and or disbarments when people get involved in insurance fraud while practicing law. There's a listing of other insurance fraud convictions other than health insurance, which shows that insurance fraud is a violent crime, and 2 were found to be guilty in a murder-for-hire plot. For example, Terica Ellis and Wael Rebhi Youngman, charged with the murder-for-hire plot that led to the death of Andre Montgomery in 2016, pleaded guilty on July 22, 2022. In 2020, the 2 were charged with conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud. Yagnam was charged with 5 counts of aggravated identity theft. Montgomery, the grandson of original Sweetie Pie's owner Robbie Montgomery, was shot and killed near Fairground Park on March 14, 2016. James Timothy Norman, Montgomery's uncle, has been charged with conspiracy to use a cell phone in the commission of a murder for hire that resulted in death. Charging documents revealed that Norman took out a $450,000 life insurance policy on his nephew in 2014, with Norman as the sole beneficiary. The entire Zalma's insurance fraud letter for August 1, 2022 is available at zalma.com by simply clicking on the link, where you will see not only the August 1, 2022 issue, but the July 15, 2022 issue. You can subscribe to Zalma's insurance fraud letter, and it will be sent to your email every 2 weeks. Thank you for your attention.